Welcome to Lead with Linnea, where we talk about real leadership for real people in the real world. I'm Linnea Rader, and I've spent 2 decades in public service leadership. From accounting to my current role as the Director of Finance and Human Resources, I've seen pretty much everything. The spectacular successes, the painful failures, and everything in between that makes leadership both challenging and incredibly rewarding. Here's the thing. Leadership is not reserved for people with fancy titles or corner offices. Every single one of us can be a leader in our personal and professional lives. Whether you're managing a team of 50 or just trying to figure out how to navigate office politics, whether you're a frontline worker or sitting around a boardroom table, leadership skills matter. My approach? I skip the fluff and get straight to what really works. You won't find theoretical frameworks or feel-good platitudes here. Instead, you'll get practical, tested strategies from someone who's been in the trenches, made the mistakes, and learned the hard lessons so that you don't have to. Through Lead with Linnea, I provide leadership development training and coaching because I'm passionate about helping people discover their authentic leadership potential. And honestly, some days you need to laugh to keep from crying, and some days you just need someone to tell you the truth about what leadership really looks like. So whether you're listening while you commute, taking a walk, or just need someone to remind you that you've got this, I'm here for you. So let's dive in and talk about what it really takes to lead with authenticity, impact, and maybe a little bit of sanity. Ready? Let's go. How to delegate effectively as a new manager. A step-by-step guide. Just promoted a new manager? Delegation is one of the hardest skills to learn. Here's your practical step-by-step guide to delegating tasks without micromanaging or overwhelming your team. So when I first became a manager, I had no idea how to delegate. I'd been promoted because I was good at getting things done myself. Now, suddenly I was supposed to get things done through other people. Nobody taught me how. So I did what most managers do. I kept doing everything myself, while my team watched me drown. If you're struggling with delegation, you are not alone. And the good news, delegation is a skill you can learn. So here's the practical, step-by-step process I wish someone had taught me from day one. So before you delegate, know what you can actually hand off. Not everything on your plate can or should be delegated. Your first step is figuring out what falls into which categories. So the keep it for yourself category. Confidential personnel matters, disciplinary actions, sensitive employee situations, strategic decisions that require your level of authority, performance evaluations and career development conversations, budget approvals beyond your team's authority level. Then the delegate immediately category, routine operational tasks, projects that develop someone's skills, work that plays into a team member's strengths, and tasks you're doing out of habit, not out of necessity. I can think of one delegation that changed everything for me. I used to try to handle all of the year-end procedures myself. It made for a very, very busy fall and winter. One of my staff members asked to take on more responsibilities and begin to understand more about the process. I was nervous. These were extraordinarily important responsibilities. But after a good pep talk with myself, I decided it was time. So we did it in stages. She started by watching how it was done while reviewing the how-to guide I had for the process. Then she did it with my oversight. Finally, she was able to do it by herself with my review upon completion. It was time-consuming, but totally worth it. Now, those critical year-end procedures happen smoothly without me being the bottleneck. So, here's a quick test. If you're doing something that someone on your team could do with 80% of your quality, delegate it. You can coach them to 100% over time. So step 1, choose the right person for the task. This isn't just about who has capacity. It's about matching the task to the person's development goals and current skill level. So ask yourself, does this task match what they want to learn? Is it slightly beyond their current comfort zone, growth, or way beyond it, overwhelm? Do they have the foundational skills that are needed? Will success here build confidence for bigger responsibilities? For anyone who has ever worked in HR and had the responsibility to figure out options and plan through open enrollment, you know it's a huge deal. Complex, detailed, high stakes work. I've been able to step back and allow someone to take the lead on this. The result is amazing. She owns every step of the process, only requiring my oversight and decision making. She has rocked this role. She doesn't just go through the process and check the box. She steps back, thinks about how it will be understood, how it can be improved, what the steps will look like. She does an amazing job. I am so proud of what she does. She owns the process and makes it work amazingly well. And honestly, she approaches it differently than I would have. But her way works way better. The sweet spot is tasks that stretch people just enough to grow them without breaking them. So, step 2, set clear expectations. This is where most delegation fails. Vague delegation creates confusion, redo work, and frustration for everyone. Clear delegation sets people up for success. So, what do you need to communicate clearly? The outcome you need. Don't just say, update the spreadsheet. Say, I need this spreadsheet updated with the current financial details by Friday at 3 p.m. so that I can include it in the board report. The format should match last quarter so the board can compare it easily. Then tell them the authority that they have. Can they make decisions on their own, or do they need to check with you first? Can they spend money? Can they contact other departments? Can they make changes to the existing procedures? Be explicit. Then, what resources are available? Who can they ask for help? What budget or tools can they use? What past examples can they reference? And finally, how you'll check in. When do you want updates? Will you have a midpoint review or just touch base at the end? Following the success of our leadership program, 3 participants were promoted into supervisory roles. As these 3 were promoted, we carefully went over the expectations of each role. We didn't micromanage their jobs, but we were able to demonstrate best practices, provide guidance for success, and specifically outline the expectations for the positions. They have nailed their jobs. Each one has been greatly successful, and I believe the clarity that we provided at the start made all the difference. Step 3, provide context, not just instructions. So this is what separates good delegation from great delegation. Don't just tell them what to do. Tell them why it matters. Bad delegation. Can you put together current road condition data? Good delegation. Can you pull together current road condition data? We're specifically looking for XYZ category roads and need surface condition and traffic counts to help determine what road treatments could make the most impact on the community within these budget constraints. Do you see the difference? The second version helps them understand why the task matters, who will use the information, what decisions it will inform, and how it fits into the bigger organizational goals. When people understand the why, they make smarter decisions about the how. I've seen it over and over. Explaining the why always assists in the success of the projects or the processes. Always. Step 4, get out of the way. This is the hardest part. You've delegated the task. You've set clear expectations. You've provided context. Now comes the really hard part, letting them actually do it. So what getting out of the way means. You don't check in every 2 hours. You don't redo their work because it's just not quite right. You don't take it back at the first kind of struggle. You don't hover over their shoulder. So what it doesn't mean disappearing completely or being unavailable for questions or leaving them to figure everything out alone. The balance is being available without being intrusive. Say something like, I'm here if you need anything, and let's touch base Wednesday afternoon to see how it's going, but I trust you to handle this. I'll be honest, staying out of the way is tough, especially when there are challenges. Often when first delegating, it's easier to do it myself than spend the time training and following up. However, the trade-off is most often worth it. Each time I've delegated a task, I've struggled with the training part. I'm busy, they're busy. It's far less productive in the moment to train. But that short term productivity hit pays off long term when they can handle it independently. And step 5, accept that different doesn't mean wrong. This is crucial. They might approach a task differently than you would. They might use a different process. They might even get better results when using a method you never considered. Let them. Unless they're about to make a decision that will cause real problems, safety issue, legal problem, relationship damage, let them try their approach. I used to be in charge of our agency's social media platforms. I muddled along. When those communication projects transitioned to someone else, I struggled real hard with this one. I would read things and think, I wouldn't have said things quite that way. I would have worded that differently, or I would have taken a different approach. However, she handled it really well and is doing a great job. She's grown the platform. She's expanded it to several others. She's focused on branding, consistency, not oversharing. She's nailed it. My way was not the only way. And honestly, her way is better. So step 6, review and provide feedback. When they complete the task, review the work and provide feedback. But here's the key. Focus on what worked first, then address what needs improvement. Here's a good feedback structure. First, here's what you did really well. Be specific. Then, here's one thing that could have been even better next time. Be specific. Third, what did you learn from doing this? And finally, what would you do differently next time? This builds capability and confidence. It creates a feedback loop that makes future delegation even easier. All right, and finally, step 7, give credit where it's due. When the work is done well, make sure other people know it was their work, not yours. In meetings, Sarah put together this plan, and I think you'll find it really insightful. In emails, copy them when you're sharing their work with leadership. To their face, you did excellent work on this. Thank you. This matters more than you think. Recognition builds confidence, and confident team members take on more responsibilities. So, common delegation mistakes to avoid. Mistake number 1, delegating only the boring stuff. If you only hand off the tedious tasks, your team learns that delegation means getting dumped on. Mix in interesting, growth-oriented projects, not just the stuff you don't want to do. Mistake number 2, delegating without the authority. Don't ask someone to handle something, but then require that they get your approval for every tiny decision. Give them real ownership. Mistake number 3, taking it back when it gets hard. The moment you take back delegated work because it's not going smoothly, you teach your team that you don't actually trust them. Let them work through the challenges. And mistake number 4, delegating at the last minute. I need this by tomorrow. Isn't delegation, it's an emergency. Good delegation includes reasonable timelines. So what to say? Delegation scripts that work. When you initially delegate, I'd like you to handle task. Here's why this is important. Context. I need specific outcomes by the deadline. You have the authority to, then tell them the decisions they can make. I'm available for questions, but I trust you to own this. Does this make sense? What questions do you have? Then when you check in, how's the project going? What's working well? Where are you stuck? What do you need from me? When you're tempted to take it back, I notice this is taking longer than expected. Help me understand where you're at and what would help you move it forward. Then when giving feedback, you did, tell them the specific thing really well. For next time, consider specific improvement. What was your experience working on this? So, your first delegation challenge. Here's what I want you to do this week. Identify one task you're currently doing that someone else could handle. Choose the right person based on their development goals. Set up a 15-minute meeting to delegate it properly. Use the clear expectations framework that we talked about. And step back and let them do it. Start small. Build the skill. Watch your capacity multiply. If you're struggling with the psychological barriers to delegation, Read my blog about why good leaders struggle to let go. I've linked it in the blog post. But once you understand the why, come back here to this guide for the how. If you need help developing your delegation skills, I coach leaders on practical management skills that actually work. Click the link in the blog to schedule a free consultation. So, what's your biggest delegation question? Share that answer in the comments below. Thank you for joining me today on Lead with Linnea. I hope something we talked about resonates with you and gives you a tool you can actually use in your leadership journey. Remember, leadership isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional, authentic, and willing to keep learning and growing. You're going to face situations you never saw coming, make decisions that feel impossible, and sometimes wonder if you're cut out for this whole leadership thing. It's normal, it's human, and that's exactly why we need leaders like you who are willing to do the hard work. If today's episode sparked some ideas about training or coaching for you or your team, I'd love to hear from you. You can reach me at leadwithlinnea@leadwithlinnea.com or give me a call at 269-621-5282. Whether you're looking for one-on-one coaching, team training, or need someone to speak at your next event, let's talk about how we can help you and your people become the leaders your organization needs. You can find more resources, read my blog post, and learn more all about my services at leadwithlinnea.com. As always, carry social kindness with you everywhere you go. This world needs you and your positive mindset. Until next time, keep leading and keep growing.